Oh, man, thank you so much for locking into a brand new episode of Draped in Gold, your one-stop shop for NXT content all around planet Earth. My name is Flobo Boyce. I'm up here in the catbird seat, but as always, I'm not alone. I'm being joined by the man who only eats Tabasco because Tapatio reminds him of his dad. Give it up for the real Jack Farmer. What's up?
I can't deal with anything that spicy. Look at me. I can't. I always say,
really? Not even Cholula? I'm a Cholula guy, actually.
I mean, pepper is a little bit much for me.
I mean, a little kick to it. Yeah.
If I'm feeling crazy, we'll add some flour to the.
you're totally joshing me. You're a hot sauce guy, right? You're a hot ones guy.
No, I can't. I mean, a little bit, but I'm not. I'm not. If I was on Hot Wings, I would not make it that far. I wouldn't go in very bold. I would go in very, very cautious.
You know what's funny about that show? If someone told me the concept, I'd be like, that's the dumbest idea ever. But yet, it's like a lava lamp. You can't turn away if you watch an episode of that. Hot Ones, I think.
Yeah, I think it's a brilliant idea. I love that show. I think the idea is great. You got to give the host some credit, too. He's
absolutely.
Really good he's a really good host without the gimmick.
That's what I'm saying. But if someone came to an office like, oh, here's an idea. People are eating hot wings and they get hotter. And they ask him more personal. And you're like, oh, hell yeah. You would say that off the rip?
Yeah, I want to see that.
That is, I get it.
Because I'd like to see people in increasingly worse situations.
Well, you're coming to the right place. It's Draped in Gold. What the hell are we doing? Episode 147. We're not getting any better doing this. That's for sure.
147 episodes. We have to do something big for the 150.
We always say that, and then we don't.
We'll say next, and then we'll go next time at 200.
Right.
We're gonna get the Simpsons one day and be like, at episode 50,000, we're gonna do something special.
Yeah, all our fans are like, yeah, it kind of fell off at episode 3. We kind of just kept watching, you know. We were saying this in our little pre-production emails, which I don't say pre-production. I just say, here's a link. This is the actual week we sat down and talked about reviving the show. I was in a hotel room. I was in, I think, Dallas at the time going, hey, look, we're actually going to do this. I shot the Clement Wong for the logo. And of course, you can buy the merch over there at flopito.thrillist.com. But that was a talk we had this week about relaunching the show. So it's pretty dope.
Crazy it's been a year since that happened, because it's, you know, you do stuff like this and you start and you're like, we'll see how long this goes, and you just keep at it, you keep grinding, as the kids say, and suddenly you're like, that was a year ago. That's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy. Well, you're super famous. I'm glad you're stuck with us.
Our numbers have like doubled since then, by the way.
That is absolutely true. We've gone from going live with no one listening or watching to charting in Malaysia, in Belgium, in Canada for a couple weeks. People are checking out Draped in Gold and seeing how you're wrong week in and week out.
Yeah, I mean, Belgium, love you. Malaysia, love you. Canada, love you. America continuing to fall behind the rest of the world. I don't know why you're not tuning in.
I like how it's like not incorrect, but not for the reasons you're saying. Well, we are falling behind, but not because of a wrestling podcast. But there you have it. Got to give a shout out to everyone watching now on the Facebook, on that LinkedIn, on that YouTube, on that Twitch, and X, and Trovo Live. You mean the world. If you have questions or comments or concerns, make sure you write them in the chat below, because we are live and we'll answer those questions accordingly, my friend.
We absolutely will.
I got a question for you. Who the heck let Gallus back into the building, attacking a good portion of the roster last night on NXT this week? They looked at the camera. They're back. Boys, Gallus boys on top.
Gallus boys on top. This is the kind of Gallus that we've been waiting for. Us NXT UK faithful have been waiting for the Gallus boys to get back on top in this kind of way. Since they've came stateside, we've been waiting for something different to happen with them. We've known that they have what it takes, but something wasn't right. Flobo, you see what they did to 3 very big, very tough dudes, and I think Gallus boys are back, and I think Gallus boys are going to be very dangerous. I think this new, we'll call it the Trick Williams era of NXT, is about to get very rough with Gallus back in the building.
So here's the dilly. I will never doubt Gallus's ability, never their strength, maybe the win-loss record, but that's about it. And we'll get to that in a second. But Wesley, Ivar, and Josh Briggs have their own conflicts with Oba Femi of the North American title division. Why did Gallus go after them? They are a triumvirate. They are a trio. They have their own tag team aspirations, Heritage Cup aspirations. What's going on attacking the North American title division?
Well, why didn't they attack while they were on the ring? Is that why you're asking?
Why them? Why not attack some other person in the tag team division? Why not the Heritage Cup division? Why are they going after this division here this week?
Flobo, it's very, very old school rules.
Old
When you
school.
go to prison, the first thing you do is you punch out the biggest guy in the cell
How do
block.
you know what happens in prison, Jack?
That's what Gallus
Wait a
did.
minute.
They took the biggest. They took Josh Briggs, big and mean. You took Ivar, big and mean. Wesley, big heart. 3 big guys, and they took them down and showed that they're the new big guys on the block. Now they steer clear of Obafemi, which I get it. I get it. I get that. But they took out the other 3 guys, and I think that this shows that this is a division that they run. You get that little foothold on that division, and then you can take over the rest of NXT.
Well, time will tell what Gallus wants to do. I'm really up for a new manifesto, hopefully a new theme song, which I was going to move on to the North American title division, but what's your take of the whole internet wrestling community having all the memes about the quality of music all of a sudden? It feels like everyone decided to wake up and have hate for themes that wrestlers have. What gives?
It's it's called an exponential growth curve, Flobo, and it's where you have one of these growths. You think about it, if you have a penny that doubles every day for a month, you end the month with like millions and millions of dollars. It starts off with a slow growth. So if you're on the audio version, you're not seeing my physical aspects here, but you're
not
missing out.
Much.
It starts off slow, and then it slowly goes up, and then suddenly it skyrockets. And that's what happened with the music. Is we were upset, and then bam, we all just lost our minds. I think maybe it was AJ Styles losing his music. We were like, yeah, we're upset, Flobo. We're not taking this anymore. But I agree with you. Gallus needs their old music back. Same with Tyler Bate. How dare they?
Yes. Tyler Bates' music, and I'm referring to the song Inaugural, is iconic because he was the inaugural UK champion. I mean, I still wave to that when I go to the gym. And plus, the fact that all these songs are being delisted from Spotify is two ways sad. One, I miss them. And 2, do we really own our music anymore? I think not. But that's another issue for another time.
The Spotify thing really grinds my gears because
really?
I have, yes, because I keep them on my workout playlist things. And then when they're gone, to your point, do we really own our music? I can never listen to the song again. I'm so frustrated. That's because how else am I going to listen to it? Yeah, I'm not going to pull up a YouTube.
Heck yeah. When they delisted my Tony Danza albums, I was upset. I was livid. And I love Tony Danza. Just putting it out there.
A little, yeah, you really love Tony Danza. But
I do. He's a talented hero.
I guess the last thing, how does WWE not just own the music? That's weird to me. Like that they got to license it. They should own it. It's their music. I don't get it. Well, I'm sure there's a reason, but I don't want to hear the reason. I just want to complain.
Music licensing was the first thing to go software as a service, like way back in the day. It was like, here's your license for the next 6 weeks. You're like, dang. And even some WWE themes that are music licensed from libraries like Hardcore Hollies or TNAs or the original Trish Stratus ones, Hardy Boys. They're all part of libraries. You have to pay every year to keep. I knew that from school because I used to get copyright strikes from the Music Bakery, which had the rights to Jeff Hardy's. Okay, so North American title division got a little bit of a shakeup. Wesley comes out and says, I'm back, and I know I want to go after that title. Last week, he talked about his prospects in doing so, and that drew out Ivar and Josh Briggs, which you saw get attacked by Gallus, and Obafemi the Ruler. Now, it was a very simple situation with a solution there, Jack. 4 men with a problem to solve. I love a fatal 4-way, but Obafemi, this somehow M'Baku Ruler walks out and goes, have a triple threat match, and the winner faces me. 1, why did Ava go for that? And 2, is Obafemi scared?
Obafemi's smart. That's what he is. I mean, he said it himself. This is why Wesley's not the champion anymore. He loves these multi-person matches. And you know what? I don't think Obafemi needs to be in a fatal 4-way match. He just had a triple threat match at Stand and Deliver. It's time he gets some one-on-one matches here. I get that he's great. I get that he's probably going to be main roster soon. I get that he's going to be incredible, but that doesn't mean we need to stack the deck against him every single time he defends the match by putting multiple people in there. No, the next time he has a match, it should be one-on-one, and I think that he's smart in making it between these 3 guys in a triple threat match because now they can beat each other up before they get to him, instead of him having to go through everybody to defend his championship. Obafemi, he is so great. Him on the mic this week, he was fantastic. What was his lines? Like, I'm the bringer of war, the mountain you cannot climb. I mean, come on, this guy, he's incredible. Obafemi, just go win WrestleMania, Obafemi. Come on, you're already ready. Just do it.
You know, of the years we've been doing this, which again is over or approaching 5 years of us covering wrestling weekly without a break, may I add, I always ask, if you like someone that much, would you buy the merch? Would you buy Obafemi's merch today as it stands? Or is there room for growth for you?
As an individual, I'd buy his merch. I don't know if he has any though, so I gotta look. It's gotta
It's a
look
figurative
good.
speech.
It's gotta look good. But I would wear Obafemi merch.
Okay, yeah, definitely bring it to the cookout. Yeah, I like the fact that Obafemi is the top of that division, but I did think the way he walked away, being like, "You guys fought amongst yourselves," was pretty cowardly. I'm just putting it out there. Don't tell him I said that. Don't clip him. Don't tag him. I'm just saying.
It was not
cowardly.
It was not coward. It was him saying, "Look, I'm above." He's above this. He's above all this bickering between challengers. Find the challenger. He's like Shang Tsung at the end of Mortal Kombat. He's like M. Bison. He doesn't need to go through the World Warrior flying around the little map and fighting everybody. No, you figure it out, and the winner gets to me. That's how it works here. You got to go through Mortal Kombat. You got to go through the going up the pictures. Again, maybe people are too young to know the.
I was going to say, I used to pop so hard for the Street Fighter voice guy. USA! Yeah, like it was so hype, man. Like,
yeah.
Cool, that's awesome.
Because I come from a world where there's only Street Fighter 2. I don't care about all this other stuff. It's the Street Fighter 2 voices that are what I go by.
What are we doing? We're just two old men. Remember Street Fighter 2? They're on 6 now, Jack. I don't know if you know this. We're talking about the second
Street
one.
Fighter 2 is the one. And there was no Street Fighter 1. No one actually played Street Fighter 1. Everyone just said Street Fighter 2. And that was the one. And that one was the one. Maybe Street Fighter 2 Turbo. We'll
Turbo. Yeah, Turbo all day. Are you kidding me? Street Fighter 2 original was slow as heck. And they knew it too.
Turbo. We'll throw Turbo in there. That counts. But all the other ones, get out of here. Okay.
Let's talk about getting out of here. What happened to your boy this week? Your boy Noam Dar. As the show opened this week on NXT, you had him on the ground writhing in pain. Someone attacked him backstage, and Vic Joseph and Booker T had their own theories. Yeah, someone. I mean, it wasn't an algorithm, or was it? Was it Trick Williams? Was it somebody else? Yeah. What do you make of this? I mean, look, Noam Dar was going to have himself a match, and I guess it wasn't to be, my friend.
I mean, who had the first thing you look for is motivation? Who had the motivation to attack Noam Dar? Trick Williams.
No.
Yeah, look, I'm so sick of this defending Trick Williams thing. I mean, Trick Williams gets attacked and everyone suddenly immediately points at the most obvious person, Carmelo Hayes. They blame him. They don't even wait for any type of evidence. Now, Noam Dar gets attacked and the most obvious person it could be is Trick Williams. I was like, whoa, we got to pump the brakes a little bit here. It's Trick Williams. Trick Williams attacked Noam Dar.
Hold on. Trick Willie is already doing other things. He's a champion. Why would a champion attack some random challenger? Doesn't he have to do signings or do his own trainings? Are there really people like Lexus King hiding in the back doing nefarious things? Why would Trick Willie do something that was done to him?
Trick Williams, one, he's doing something that was done to him because it was done to him and he saw how effective it was. Two, he was obviously getting him back for Noam Dar, outclassing him on Supernova sessions and being the more entertaining and more fun and clever person on the show.
That didn't happen.
He was embarrassed. He's like, I thought everyone was going to be singing my song, but everyone was singing Noam Dar's song at the end there. I think Trick Williams also saw that Noam Dar, the greatest heritage champion that has ever existed, was going to come for his title. I think he took a shortcut. Trick Williams took a shortcut. And I'm not against it. That's what people do. But let's not pretend Trick Williams wasn't the person that attacked Noam Dar.
He took a shortcut. I'm not against it, but I'm just saying it's pretty nefarious. I support it, but it's pretty bad. Which one is it?
I've been on this show. I've said I like the aggression. I like doing things the smart way. I'm not faulting Trick Williams. I just want Trick Williams to be man enough to come out and say, yeah, I attacked Noam Dar.
Well, it looks like the other suspect, oddly, was Javon Evans, which was asked backstage whether he had any involvement in it. And he was like, no, me and Trick Williams have an alibi where he didn't do it. And I'm sold. I don't need any evidence. Stop the search. But Javon Evans had a match that day against Metaphor's Aura Mensa, was looking to clear the name of what happened between him and Noam Dar. And this one kind of like had a bit of, my mom would say, a kerfuffle, because Trick Willie got involved because Last Legend attempted to get involved in this one. Javon Evans, Trick Williams, two innocent men being accosted by one half of Metaphor.
Interesting that these two guys are so close now after attacking Noam Dar.
They didn't attack him.
I will agree with you. I don't think Javon attacked Noam Dar alone, because Noam Dar would wreck Javon. Come on.
What?
Even if it was from behind, Noam Dar would hit that little spinning back elbow thing he does. It would have been over. No way was it Javon. But maybe Javon helped Trick Williams. That actually makes the most sense now that I think
about it. No, it doesn't.
I think they're in cahoots, as the kids would say. Cahoots.
The kids don't say cahoots.
And they don't say cahoots anymore.
No, the grandparents would say cahoots, not the kids. Why would the kids? Hey, yo, you're the cahoots. But they wouldn't say that. They wouldn't.
Slang changes so quick. Cahoots. Who'd have thought? Not a word kids use anymore.
I did not think. Yeah, I did.
But clearly, I think they were together on this, and you saw that's why they were working together today. But look, I'm going to give some flowers. I'm going to give,
please.
Javon Evans is clearly a buy now stock. In fact, I feel like that's not even a news to say that. Right. It's not even like interesting to say, Jack, that's a buy now stock, because clearly he is. But I would tell you why he's a buy now stock. It's not just because of what he can do in the ring, and it's not because of how his personality is, because he's clearly got a fun, charismatic, infectious personality.
Bouncy.
Javon Evans is a buy now stock because clearly the machine is behind him. And what I mean by that is he's got matches with Dragunov. He's got matches with Metaphor. And now he's got Trick Williams, the NXT champion, at his side in the ring. Stuff like this only happens when the stars are aligning for you. And so what I'm seeing here is not only does he have all the things that make a star, but the people who make stars also see he's a star. Javon Evans is a buy now stock for that reason.
Okay, so we talked about this a little bit last week, but let's get into it. Javon Evans is someone who was very fantastic with his body control. And we saw that with his, I'm not sure if he has a name for it yet, but his cutter, I think it has a lot more airtime than Cody's and that corkscrew plancha finisher. So you're saying buy now, but Booker T asked the question, can he draw money? And that's a question we have to ask ourselves. You have ourselves a new page, a new chapter, a new class of individuals on NXT. In theory, one of the most potentially stacked rosters if everyone works out. Can Javon Evans find a way to break through when we just had the draft about a couple weeks ago?
The biggest issue in finding out if someone can make money is getting the opportunity. There's a lot of people who are great and they never have the opportunity and they never get put in positions to show that. And I think Javon Evans, he is going to get that opportunity. He's going to get put in a position because he's very clever in the fact that he's taken out Noam Dar and can now slide right into that spot.
Wait, what? He did not take out Noam Dar.
I mean, him and Trick Williams together.
So you mean to tell me, okay, walk me through this. Trick Williams, who is the NXT champion, who just decided to call up Javon Evans one day. He's like, you know what? This Noam Dar is going to take me down, dog. Let's want to work together and beat him up backstage right before his match.
It's not the first time a veteran champion has gotten into the ear of a young rookie looking to make a name for themselves and pulled the strings to make them do something maybe they shouldn't.
But why? But why? Because Trick Williams last week felt like he could take Noam Dar. He was very confident that the match was going to be pretty much a lopsided affair in his favor, but now takes him out? I have no reason to.
I mean, it's weird how you remember it, because the way I remember it was Trick Williams was on his back and Noam Dar was holding the title in the air.
Okay, that also didn't happen, but he was confident before. Okay, you know what? I don't think Trick Williams did it, and I hope I'm proven right for a change. He's actually an innocent man.
I want to hear you defend your guy Oro Mensah, because you're one of the first fans I've ever met of Oro Mensah, going way back. In fact, you made me a big fan of Oro Mensah, and I'm just starting to feel like you're losing your roots, not supporting your guy and being here for Javon Evans.
Look, I support my guy. I think Oro Mensah is a fantastic talent. I think that he is going to be a star if he's given an opportunity. But let's be real, he's made some really questionable decisions waiting back to Stand and Deliver weekend, just getting himself involved, being the fall guy, being pushed out there where Noam Dar just can't do things on his own. No one likes to have a second fiddle. Oro Mensah is a third fiddle in that group. So he needs to break away from Noam Dar company and be out on his own man.
I mean, I think if Trick Williams didn't walk out there, Oro Mensah would have been walking away with the dub.
That may actually be true, but it was still bad. It's that's still bad pretenses. Or Mensah, grind your own thing, man. Scoop of Mensah, we still want that. But on the other side of the metaphor equation, Last Legend was also in action for the Women's North American Title Tournament Combine Stage 2 thing against.
I had no idea how to write that in my notes. I was like, qualifier North America.
I mean, you qualified, so second round. I don't know. You love tournaments.
I love them. I love this. I love this. I love it when it's overly complicated. Let's go.
Oh, you're gonna have lots of that in this episode. Against Ivy Nile. Now, this one here is a lot of questions I had, but a lot of it makes sense. Last Legend was so good. I will argue that she's one of the most improved talents in the roster. Jack Farmer's picked to be the 2024 breakout star, and right now he's looking like an absolute genius. Jack Stradamus, if you will. New ring attire, new attitude. On the other hand, you had Ivy Nile, which this time 2 years ago had one of the longest active winning streaks on professional wrestling television, barring Masha Slamovich on TNA or Impact Wrestling. But this month, this 6 months, this week has not been kind to Ivy Nile, having 0 for her last two straight losses this week. It didn't look good for Ivy as well. Last Legend gets the dub, which I like, but at the expense of someone I thought was going to be the flag bearer for the next women's division.
Yeah, I think Ivy Nile can turn it around, but you're right. This is definitely a slump. I think this is definitely a time that she's going to want to try to not look back on very often. Let's talk about Last Legend, though, and let's talk about the real story here. Chikara Jackson coming out with Last Legend, and there as a ton of support for Last Legend, which I think is a big middle finger to all the IWC folks who feel like there's issues between Metaphor and Last Legend, and showing that Metaphor is still a group that is as strong as ever, and that there's no worries about what may or may not be going on with Trick Williams outside of Trick Williams attacking people.
I don't think Trick Williams, these are all false pretenses. Stop making things up. But I do, and I know I'm not really the guy that what they call shipping. I don't really ship people, but I think Trick Willie and Last Legend would be a good team together if they were ever to end Metaphor. That's what they should be doing.
I don't know what shipping means, but I know what cahoots mean. And I don't think that Last Legend and Trick Williams are in cahoots.
You know, talking about theme songs and being people together, I think that even though that Last Legend's theme song is not as good as it used to be, I would much rather her come out to a Trick Williams and have all the cahoots and shipping we want altogether. That's kind of weird. Chikara Jackson, though.
The problem is Meta 5 doesn't work, so you can't bring in Trick Williams or his friend Javon Evans.
Hey, they're not working together, first of all. And more importantly, this answers my question, why they were together, Metaphor. Why is Metaphor together in the first place? They never told us what club they went to, or they went to the moon the same time, why they were together. So them breaking up is not really to lose sleep over.
Well, of course, Noam Dar was at the moon first, Flobo. Come on.
Anyway.
That's why he's the host of the show.
Ivy now, can she bounce back at all? Or is this year going to be a wash for her?
I don't think the year is going to be a wash for her yet. I think she still has a lot of time. Summer can be a time of transformation in wrestling. So I think she still has time to turn things around. If we get to November and things are looking rough, things might get tough for the rest of the year, though.
Oh yeah, it's a very safe bet at November. Oh, well, maybe it's yours and yours.
I meant wrestling calendar. The wrestling calendar. If she doesn't win a match by Christmas, this year might get tough.
It might be pretty bad. Oh, yeah,
I meant the wrestling calendar.
Yeah, whatever.
Delivers NXT's year end, and same with WrestleMania for
Don't lie
WWE.
to me. It used to be Brooklyn. Okay. It's just kind of a quick question because it really only was a couple seconds. But you catch that alarm clock sound,
I
the wake
absolutely
up.
did.
What's up with that? You think? What's up with that? That's very deep cut.
You don't have any ideas of who that might be waking up from a long sleep?
Karrion Cross. TikTok snooze. I don't know what. Why? Who could it be?
There's a certain wrestler that is known for sleeping in that I think might be making her return.
You think it could be? It might be the Wendy Chu.
I'm hoping Tion Shaw is coming back, but
It's gone, man.
I got a feeling it's Wendy Chu. Yeah, this is going to be fun to see. I hope she's a little more alert this time around.
That's actually a good point. Tion Shaw, man, you talk about the COVID storylines. And we're talking about this on our text chain because we talk all the time, like a bunch of like high schoolers, like, oh my God. But like the $1 million championship, you had Seth Rollins being a cult leader, you had Tion Shaw being the most engaging thing we saw, the original Diamond Mine, like the pandemic had some gems.
Yeah, we were talking about this before. I feel like we're almost far enough away from the pandemic that it might be fun to go back and just look at how nuts the pandemic era was in pro wrestling. Because now that we're almost 5 years out, or I guess 4 years and some change, once we're like 5 years out, I think it might be interesting to go back to 2020 and see just what they were doing, and especially the early pandemic where there was no screens yet and stuff like that. That might be kind of fun to go back and see what we were dealing with.
AEW too. I mean, Pineapple Pete was a legend for like 2 weeks.
That's right, Pineapple Pete.
Shout out to JLJ Media, by the way.
Hey, JLJ Media, I know who that is. Happy birthday, JLJ Media.
Wow, wait, that whole media had a birthday? That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to Sugar D. Pineapple Pete was a good one. So Wendy Chu, I didn't even think about that, but that totally would make sense. But it was quick, it was swift. I wasn't sure if it was part of a storyline or to itself, but I'll be on board if it was the return. She's fantastic in the game. She's like that S.A. Rios character where it doesn't look like much, but her moveset is like sick.
S.A. Rios was beautiful. How dare you say that?
He was always slept on, is my point. Not slept on literally, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make that pun. That was an unintentional pun. But like the one person you play in the game's like, oh my gosh, this guy's great. You know?
That Wendy Chu is an incredible athlete. And I think that it's gonna be interesting to see how Wendy Chu, who to your point was great back in that pandemic era and coming through 2.0, how that fits in with this new crop and this new season of competitors in NXT.
Got a quick question for you. Mike Rome is back on NXT Tuesday. How did he acquit himself, in your opinion?
I thought, we don't give the ring announcers enough credit sometimes. It felt like having him out there made everything feel very fresh and different and new. It added a lot to that. And I think Alicia Taylor is fantastic. I think she's doing a fantastic job on SmackDown. So this isn't a comparison of the two, but it's interesting, kind of like commentary, when you make a switch like that, suddenly the show as a whole feels different. And hearing his announcements, and I don't know if it's his style or if it's because he was on SmackDown for so long, that it felt like a lot of his announcements and for a lot of his matches, it felt a little bigger, like, because this voice is different. This voice sounds like it's been in a big arena before. I liked it. I dug it.
Yeah, one of the cool things that you've told me, which aren't really many, you always said you're not here to be given a spot, you're here to take a spot. And so there was a little bit of a backlash against Alicia Taylor because she got promoted. That means Mike Rome had to have moved. Whether or not you call it a demotion or a transfer is up for debate because we don't know contracts and all that jazz. But I do think that Mike Rome, given what he was given, made himself look like it was a big fight feel on a regular Tuesday night, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, I thought he did a great job. And to your point, in entertainment, as we all know, and in media, as JLJ knows, that sometimes moves happen, and it may not have anything to do with you, may have everything to do with a million other things, but you got to be able to roll with it. And I think Byron Saxton is probably the poster child for that, as far as someone who has really kind of takes on whatever job he needs to take on and does a great job of it.
Yeah. You know, Jack, dealer's choice. Do you want to talk about that Soul Ruka match, or how about that OTM Idris and Ofe match?
Let's talk about Idris and Ofe and Malik Blade, because I want them to do well.
Oh yeah, so Jada Parker and had a match. No, I'm just kidding. Jada Parker. Oh my god. Okay, so OTM had a match against Idris and Ofe.
Jada Parker and friends.
Yeah, Jada Parker and those other guys had a matchup. And look, you guys both know that I like both teams, but Idris and Ofe and Malik Blade are just been struggling with the win-loss record. I think Idris had a bit of an injury, a light knock that he was dealing with as well. And even though Brindley Reese asked our boys to focus on what was important, it looked like OTM still got the dub, but not before Jada Parker and Brindley Reese got into it outside around the ring. And I want to ask you your thoughts on the matchup, and of course, Miss Parker. But I want to say, as a host of this show, Malik Blade stepping up, man, really being the star of this matchup here tonight.
Yeah, Malik Blade has been a really under the radar improved athlete, and really at all levels too, whether it be in the locker room, as like on the microphone, whether it be in the ring, whether it just be physically. Clearly that guy has been using P90X or whatever the case it is.
After Street Fighter 2 games, what the
after
heck?
Street Fighter 2 games,
P90X.
P90X.
Insanity.
So he's really been killing it. I've been an Idris Enofe fan for a long time. And this is the team I want to see do well. And that's why I'm so frustrated with Brindley Reese, who threw away their one chance at getting a big win here. And that was that Lucky Rabbit's foot.
They still make those? Like I couldn't even I couldn't even imagine even buying them today or this year or whatever.
You're just not lucky enough, I guess. But they are. Wow. Shout out, go Sean T. What is Sean T doing right now? I wonder.
He's happily married. He's like having a time of his life. He doesn't have to work a day in his life anymore.
Probably. But speaking of P90X and Sean T, I want to talk about OTM are big fellas. Like I've known that they're big guys. You can tell that, you see that, but when they're in the ring with Idris and Malik, who are big guys themselves, and you're just like, man, these guys are massive. They're throwing around Idris and Malik in this matchup. Very big win for them. But yeah, if you're Brindley Reese, you better go find a Lucky Rabbit's foot, and you better apologize to Idris. Idris, you better get another rabbit's foot. You guys need all the luck you can get.
He just needed a new pair of boots, man. Like, that's all you needed. I don't know why Booker buried him. It was like, these boots are Mexico. I was like, hey, have you been to a Mexican boot shop? Those are some high quality leathers being used. They're a book, you hater.
Yeah, not all of us have King of the Ring money, Booker. We got, but it's not the boot. It's what goes in the boot, and that's a rabbit's foot, Flobo. That's what they were missing.
Right. Shout out to Ambassador Sam Oficial wearing the suit. Cheers, gentlemen, and everyone. Appreciate you for that one. Thanks for coming through. But yeah, you're absolutely right. The bad luck seems to be rolling on. OTM definitely needed the dub, and they got it. But what happened after the matchup between Brindley Reese and Jada Parker? Now, Brindley Reese is trying to be a beacon of positivity. Hasn't worked out for them, but I don't think positivity is going to stop you against Mrs. Parker. No,
Mrs. Parker, I think, is going to show Brindley Reese that it takes more than a positive attitude once you get into that ring. Jada Parker is another person. We talk about Obafemi. Jada Parker is another one that I think that we can sign, seal, deliver this one. Just win a main event at WrestleMania. That's all you got left, Jada. You're a star.
Which is crazy, because I think there was a time where people will come on and it still happens where you're like, oof, I don't see it. I don't get it. Maybe a couple years, maybe some seasoning. But like, I think whether it's good or bad, there are so many more polished, and polished could be a double-edged sword. There's so many more polished people debuting and level up and on NXT that you go, okay, I can see them in the main roster.
Here's the thing with Jada Parker is there's never been a moment that I've seen her in a scene or in the ring with someone else where I didn't feel like she wasn't just eating everybody's lunch as a personality, the way she carries herself, just the aura of Jada Parker. It's whether she's going back and forth with someone, every time I see her, I'm just like, yeah, Jada Parker is clearly the star. It's like if The Rock stands next to normal people, yeah, The Rock's the star. That's how she is.
Yeah.
And there are, there's a lot of people who have that same kind of thing about them, where whenever they stand next to someone else, like, oh, that person is the star. That's what Jada Parker has. She's just a star. And every time she's been in the ring, or like I said, even in backstage segments, whatever it is, it feels like she is such the focal point. She needs to be around the biggest stars in the world, and that's on Raw and SmackDown. And that's not disrespectful. I don't mean that disrespectfully to NXT. I just mean that as like, she's ready for the biggest spotlights.
Oh yeah. I'm just going to say that I can definitely see Jada Parker being young gentleman's leader, if you know what I mean. Carly Bright had a matchup against
Lola Bright. Weren't they together for a while?
Yeah, they were. They actually were. That's why she was called Lita, because the story goes that she did her first match and she's watching the playback and they called her Lita. He was like, "Who's that?" "Oh, it's me. I'm Lita." All right. What a way to get your name there. Same with it's kind of a sidebar. Same with Drew McIntyre, because he was Drew Galloway, that's his real name, and then he comes out and his Titantron still says Drew Galloway, his first matchup, but he called him McIntyre on the air, and he's like, "Oh, all right, CM Punk's a loser." No, I'm just kidding.
Reminds me of the greatest name change of all time, Shaw Samuels, and
what was his name? Was it Ed Henry or something like that?
Yeah,
like something weird.
For anyone who didn't watch NXT UK, you guys got to go back and find this clip of his name is Shaw Samuels, but they tried to change his name, and like mid-match, he yells at the commentary team, "Call me by my right name."
Ed Harvey, that's what it was.
Harvey,
I'm not Ed Harvey, I'm Shaw Samuels. And you're like, we're taking notes. Like, is that important?
Is this part of the show, or is this? And then he was not Ed Harvey anymore after that. But it was like,
we just accepted it.
It was Shaw Samuels. Ever since that moment, is an all-time favorite of mine, because he would not allow his name to be changed.
Shout out to Andy Shepard, because he was on our show one time. We stopped the whole show to like, no, really, explain to us what exactly happened there. Like, was that part of the show?
And even Andy was like, Shaw Samuels, he's a special kind of guy.
So Lola Vice was in action against Carly Bright, talking about NXT Level Up debuts. This is Carly Bright's NXT Prime debut. The match itself was pretty standard fare. Lola Vice shows why she is the presumptive #1 contender for the NXT Women's Championship. But what happened after the match with the dust up with Natalya and Carmen Petrovic gives me a little bit more pause, because Shayna Baszler gets involved too. Lola Vice seems to be on a run, a warpath to being the next women's champion. Carly Bright tried to be as she might, but she ran into a buzzsaw this week. But the true story is Natalya's legacy with Carmen.
Well, I think that there's a bigger story happening here, Flobo. I think there is a bigger issue going on, and I think the issue goes all the way to the top. I mean, we start with this very empowering conversation that Shayna Baszler and Lola Vice are having with each other about just how great both of them can be, lifting each other up before they get attacked for no reason at all.
What?
They're just attacked. Then Lola Vice has an incredible matchup. She gets the win. It's another big moment, and they get attacked yet again for no reason afterwards. And I got to take it right to the top. Ava needs to get things under control at NXT. Back when William Regal was in charge, you didn't have to worry about the parking lot. You didn't have to worry about getting attacked during interviews or after the match. William Regal ran a tight ship. There was no attacks happening. Since Ava has gotten
Tommaso Ciampa was attacked.
People are attacking.
Aleister Black was attacked.
They're attacking Lola Vice and Shayna Baszler all the time. When is Ava going to step in and protect two of her brightest stars?
They literally brought in Samoa Joe to be an enforcer of the parking lot, because you said that William Regal wasn't doing a good job of protecting people and needed the help. What are you talking about?
I remember it differently.
Yeah, of course you remember, because that's exactly what happened. You said William Regal was the worst general manager of all time.
No, I think I remember saying William Regal was always had his nose to the grindstone, is what I remember.
That is not something you would say. That's a cahoots. That is something only the kids say.
Do the kids not say nose to the grindstone anymore?
Only the kids say nose to the grindstone, Jack. Which one is it?
Well, look, I think William Regal always, and that's why he's always been there for NXT. Even after he was stopped being the general manager, that's why he was always there helping with NXT. And never left their side. And now Ava, I think, is just throwing that all away by letting the inmates run the asylum.
JLJ Media says that. I'm with you on that on some level. It feels like this is a problem, I think, across the GM scape. It's like we have these figurehead GMs who says, this is official, you can't do that. And then people just go, you, me, next week. And this match is made official over the break. Like, wait a minute. This has a contract signing, but this could just be planned in 2 minutes over a Progressive ad. This sucks. What's the rhyme or reason?
That would actually be I'd love to see Ava next week say, let's take a look at what you said, Carmen. And then Carmen, she's like, tag match, make it happen. And Ava would be like, look, that was very disrespectful. So it's not going to happen. You're going to have to learn to ask for a match like everybody else. And your request is sponsored by Progressive.
Home, auto, and more. That's what it is. By the way, I know, look, Progressive, I'm going to be honest with you. Look, I get it. I know your girl Flo has been running with the title, and I know you want to put over new stars, but Jamie isn't cutting it. I'm just putting it out there. Hot takes all around.
Really? See, I feel like we got to get these two in the ring, because I feel like if Jamie had a one-on-one chance to overtake Flo, Jamie's got what it takes. Jamie's got grit.
Oh, no. Flo is the icon. People know who Flo is. I go to Starbucks and I go, my name is Flo, like the Progressive lady. She is number one.
You're one of these people, just because you grew up watching Flo doesn't mean she's the best. You're one of these people that's like, Bruno Sammartino was the best. The Hulk Hogan was the best. Times change, Flobo. Jamie is this generation's voice of the insurance people. You got to rally behind Jamie.
I hate the fact that your little internet darling gets a little bit of screen time and you want him to run the title. I hate it. We all know the Emu was number one, but number two with a bullet is Flo.
Well, we got to agree on the Emu. The Emu, I mean the Emo, but I think we both agree the accidents guy that has his head shaved on the Mayhem. We don't want him anywhere near the title, right? Exactly. We don't want his mud show near the title.
That is a Roman run if he has become the champion. Let's talk about championships, because this show is getting off the rails. The Heritage Cup was on the line tonight as Tony D'Angelo and the family in this corner takes on Charlie Dempsey, which, even though the catch clause was not disabled, it was rendered ineffective because Charlie Dempsey was the only person in the arena at Bell's start. And we know we love Heritage Cup. We know we love the Heritage Cup rules, but Tony D is now your new Heritage Cup winner by hook or by crook.
When I look at Tony D, I think of three things. I think of family, business, and heritage. I think him being the Heritage champion makes total sense.
Not touching that one.
No. I think him being the Heritage champion makes complete sense. I think he knew how to manipulate the rules, and really that's what the Heritage Cup is all about, is figuring out how to stack the rules in your favor. I gotta ask, so I think the question we're all leaving with here is, has the Catch crew now paid their debt? Is this over between these guys?
Well, that's the number one question. I can answer that one for you, because I do think that's only part of the debt. Because if anything, Charlie Dempsey will want to get it back, and then Tony D'Angelo would say, well, this is only part of the payment. What I really need for you to do is X, Y, and Z. Why else would they beat up the other two guys if they didn't want to have anything more on their agenda? But the second question,
they wanted to nullify the catch clause.
Yeah, but the catch clause is only half of the story, right? I think in theory, in world, Tony D'Angelo feels he can beat them with the catch clause because he has a whole family. But I think this is only part of a bigger story here. But I have a question for you, Jack. This brings us to this week's General Manager Pick'em. Yes, General Manager Pick'em is where this guy dresses so smoothly in that opening sequence where I ask
I'm inspired by William Regal, of course.
Oh, yeah, the best general manager of all time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yep. Okay, whatever, even though you wanted his job. I asked him questions as if Jack is the general manager of NXT, even though he clearly is not, because he wouldn't be here with me. Tony Angelo gets his first piece of gold after being on the NXT roster for just about 3 years. The Heritage Cup, well, second piece of gold after the tag team title, but first piece of singles gold after winning the Heritage Cup, and he looks pretty dang clean with it. But even though on the show we've talked about the effectiveness of the Heritage Cup, is Tony D'Angelo the one to retire the championship?
I certainly hope not, because I truly am a fan of the Heritage Cup. But as said before, I don't know if it's really been able to find its place in NXT 2.0. So if it's time for it to go, it's time for it to go. But I am a fan of it, and I'd like to see it stay.
I always ask that because we all having the new title, the Women's North American Championship, which we also saw in graphic form today. But if you have someone that's going to retire something about heritage, why not somebody with an actual family?
That's fair. Maybe he just puts it up in the restaurant and it becomes a little display like a TGI Fridays where they've got all the stuff on the wall.
Hey, yo, we got fondue over there. It's just chocolate and cheese coming out of the side of it.
Could you imagine eating fondue out of the Heritage Cup? Yuck, gross. But kind of cool.
Yeah, that is definitely a yuck.
It's like drinking out of the Stanley Cup. Kind of gross, but kind of cool.
I would definitely drink out of the Stanley Cup. Fondue is just gross on its own. It's like thick and gross, but like I would definitely drink like booze or water.
Probably do both, to be honest with you.
All right, hardcore. I don't know why my notes I have Mike Rome, is he grumpy? Oh, because Booker T said he looks grumpy. Like, damn, Booker, why would you say that out loud? That's crazy. When it comes to that. All right.
Yeah, so, Booker T says what's on his mind.
Wheel 5 Stud says, "What's up, gentlemen? How
Wheel 5 Stud, good to see you. Where have you been?"
Wheel 5 Stud.
Yeah, I haven't seen you in a while.
Definitely has more wrestler photos than I do. Kind of jealous about that.
Yeah,
last question.
And I work with wrestlers.
See, I always feel weird asking. I feel like, hey, man, I know what you look like. You know what I look like. But then someone posts a picture of that same wrestler. I'm like, I didn't have a chance. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I always feel a little, when I'm working there, especially, it feels a little weird. But one of these days I will.
Who would you have a picture with if you had a chance to get anyone right now and hang out with them and get a picture? Who would be the first one on your list?
I would want the Triple H pointing at me picture.
Oh, yeah. I would open a diner just to put that on the wall. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely is.
And then I don't know. Yeah, it'd be cool. That'd probably be the one I'd want.
I want to compare skin colors with Sheamus. That'd be the one I would pick for sure. Fella.
I'm pretty close. I mean,
oh man, you get one chop from Walter and it stays there forever.
Yeah, you probably do for a lot of people.
Yeah, exactly. Frame it. Let's just move on. The Tony D'Angelo thing is a great thing for him. I do think we're not done with the North Quarter Catch crew, but definitely not much to write home about that when Tony G found a way to get the dub. But one thing I have questions about, Jack, I need your expertise because I've been trying to unravel this. In fact, I've been trying to avoid talking about it. It's this tag team match player we saw this week with Chase U. That is a team of Riley Osborne and Ridge Holland. Period. Full stop. Against Gallus and Anderson, the Good Brothers. Now, Ridge Holland is on his awkward tour of being liked and hated at the same time. And Riley Osborne basically got conscripted by Andre Chase to be in this matchup. It really was not his cup of tea. And it was miscommunication that gave Good Brothers the dub.
Well, I think I got to start. I've been giving a lot of flowers today. I got to start giving some flowers to the Good Brothers. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Flowers to Rook King. The Good Brothers here. So Ridge Holland is in here talking to anybody with a pair of ears about how great Chase U is. And the Good Brothers come in and save the locker room from that.
What? No one was being saved.
From Ridge Holland just going on in his recruiting spree for Chase U. I didn't know he was part of the admissions department for Chase U now.
Department.
Then, of course, Riley Osborne. Here's the thing. The match ends. Riley Osborne drop kicks Ridge Holland. And he says it was an accident. It wasn't an accident, Flobo. He drop kicked him on purpose. And I agree.
But I don't blame him either. This guy walks in here.
He didn't admit it. I bet, I drop kicked you. You're a jerk.
Absolutely. If I was Riley Osborne, I would drop kick the crap out of Ridge Holland. Here's this guy walking around being like, the hell, you remind me of my daughter 1 week, and then next week getting hugs from my girl. I'm drop kicking everybody. I'm drop kicking Stan. I'm drop kicking the backstage guy, the parking lot, the cars in the parking lot, everything.
Yeah, the only thing that different is if I was Riley Osborne, I would drop kick Ridge and then I'd run away. But
Uh,
I think that but I agree. Like, look, what is this? What is Ridge doing? Hugging Riley's girl,
yeah.
trying to weasel his way into school, trying to weasel his way into class. Already the teacher's favorite.
Oh
I'd be
yeah.
very upset about this too. This guy comes in and after all, he's like, I don't trust the guy. You can't go around having anger issues and beating people up and slamming people's fingers in doors and attacking them like crazy in the back, and then suddenly be like, come to this school. I've got this girl hugging me, and get out of here, Riley. I'm the number one guy now. I think Duke and I think Riley need to go talk to Trick and Javon and have Ridge beat up backstage.
Trick and Javon are innocent until proven guilty. But I will say, Rich Holland wearing the uniform without paying tuition is so underhanded. It really is. Will 5 Sunsets. I will say, in my opinion, Raw, SmackDown have all jumped up in quality, but to me, NXT is still number one in consistency in entry, in my opinion. And not only that, not to make it all about the situation of who's on the roster, but the fact that it's a balance between women's matches and men's matches. We have a lot more people from different backgrounds on that show, can really show where NXT can be moving forward. But I'm with you. NXT, after its rough 2.0 relaunch, has been on its own plane for such a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's easily the most consistent show.
Yeah.
It's easily in the balance of matches to stories and everything else. It's by a mile the most consistent wrestling show on television.
Heck yeah. And I do love my consistency. How Jack isn't. Yeah, flip flopper.
I am very consistent, Flobo.
You do flip flop every week. Yeah, that's kind of
I,
William Regal needs to be fired, but he's really the best GM.
William Regal is the greatest GM that NXT has ever had. And I think that Ava should probably, at the very least, have a framed picture of him in her office where a window would go.
Where a window? It's its own light source? Okay. Finally in ring tonight, we had Ruka against Izzy Dame, and this is another one of those qualifier quite things for the Women's North American Championship. Again, we saw a picture of what the championship would look like, red on white, red on white. Like it, I'm on board with that. Ruka gets the win with the Soul Snatcher out of nowhere, and of course, it has nothing to do with what we saw in the ring. But I know that Ruka had a knee injury in the past, so I cringe every time she does it. But it looks clean. Izzy Dame had no chance. But the question I have for you is Kiana James going to make an appearance after her bestie couldn't get it done this week?
I thought it was really cool that Kiana James was there to support her friend. I thought it was really cool that she was there to support someone who she'd worked with before. I think it's cool that just because they're on different brands doesn't mean that they're not going to still be friends. I think that's something that's important in pro wrestling. Izzy Dame, I think, has a very bright future, and I think will be able to really shine now that there is another division. And again, that now that there's a lot of things resetting within NXT, I think now is her time. But Sol Ruka is just a special talent, I think, in what she does in that ring. And that Soul Snatcher is, when I first saw it, I was like, that looks really cool, but how are you going to be able to do it every time? And she does it every time in a way that doesn't look contrived. It doesn't look forced. She's able to make it happen so smoothly and so quickly. Sol Ruka is very special in that ring. And I'm like you, though. I always think like I'm worried about her in a ladder match. I'm very worried. I'm worried, but at the same time, like, but it's gonna be sick.
Oh, like, we're just part of the problem, aren't we?
Yeah, it's like when you see the Evil Knievel, speaking of old references, on the motorcycle in front of the big ramp over a bunch of buses that are on fire, and you're like, oh, he's gonna kill himself, but I'm gonna eat my popcorn while watching this.
You know, when I was a kid, I confused Evil Knievel with Super Dave Osborne. So, like, half the times it did it end up in an explosion or someone getting hurt. Sidebar.
Yes, I was a big Super Dave fan too.
So, okay, I got to be a nerd about this because I see Sol Ruka do this. But as someone who's been playing 2K Showcase mode, I go, what's her ringside finisher? What can she do to put somebody away if there's no turnbuckle?
Ooh, that's an interesting question. You're right. If I was someone in the women's locker room, I would say, Solruka, I challenge you to an underground match.
There you go. Easy
And
peasy.
there'd be no way she could win. Ha ha.
Well, watch it doing the fact that the things are all branded that you like job to a surfboard stretch or something. Oh no,
Right.
these nautical moves are killing me.
Not a nautical move. No.
My weakness, defense.
My
Well, anyway,
defense.
I think Ruka has a bright future here on NXT. She doesn't look like anyone else, maybe with the exception of the long limbs of Kehlani Jordan, but their movesets are way different. So
Yeah.
if I had to buy a stock in Ruka, I definitely would.
Oh yeah, and she's also got a ton of support from the fans, and so she's going to be an absolute star. I think as of now, I still say Jada Parker is the standout star, but Sol Ruka is going to be a big star as well.
Jack, I got two more questions for you before we wrap this up.
Yeah, I do think we need to give more credit to Lexis King and how everyone in the locker room is listening to him.
Absolutely. That was my question number one. Lexis King looks like $1 million with his lineup. I'm not even sure if it's real, but it looks like he's actually part of like a veteran after only being on the main roster for or the NXT roster for about a year, making sure he's signing cards, getting names completely correct. This guy could be a legend here.
You know, you doubting his hair, you're probably one of those guys that didn't believe that Hollywood Hulk Hogan's facial hair was real either. But I think that first off, we talk about how Lexis King is so hated all the time. But clearly we have video evidence of him being, like a player coach, someone who's out there that is a real locker room leader. You notice how everyone gathered around the campfire of Lexis King while he could help guide them and
he barged in
them and teach them. And they all were just listening on bated breath to whatever he was going to say. And I think everyone there probably becomes a better wrestler because of what they heard from him today.
That's not remotely true. Like everyone walked away because no one wants to help out JC Janer to get well soon card. She doesn't even read cards anyway. But Lexis stuck around because, hey, he called Jasmine Nix a pretty lady.
Well, I mean, I think that's one of the things I hope some of these younger wrestlers learn from him is everyone wants to be your friend until you need help. And JCJ needs help. But Lexis King, being just a paragon of altruism, stuck around to sign to sign the card, a paragon of altruism. I think that he wanted to give back, and he knows how important someone like him is to the rest of the locker room. Very similar to the things like John Cena has done or how now Cody Rhodes is doing. I put Lexis King in that exact same category. John Cena, Cody Rhodes, Lexis King, in giving back to people in need. And this is something that I think that we need to start recognizing Lexis King for more.
He said paragon of altruism. And while I looked that up on Google, this guy literally has a theme song that starts off "My Way, My Life." Paragon of altruism? This guy is just so big-hearted. Lexis King. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, he has a song that is all about being yourself. And I think that, and not hiding who you are and being comfortable in your own skin. I think it's a very empowering song.
I gotta wrap this up before I pop a vein. But before we do, now time for my favorite segment of the show. It's the MVP of NXT. Paragon of altruism. MVP of NXT is the person that stuck out for you the most this week, Jack Farmer. If you pick Lexis King, so help me, I will quit this show.
I'm very close to picking Lexis King now. If Lexis King starts calling himself the paragon of altruism, I'm here for it. I'd love it.
That means someone actually watches the show that's not in Malaysia or Canada or Belgium, so I'll take it.
It'd be America taking one step closer in the right direction. This one is one that you're going to disagree with at first, but as I explain it, you're going to go, you know what? That makes a lot of sense. My MVP of NXT this week is Lash Legend.
Interesting.
And the reason is she had on a killer WCW jacket. And I mean, that fashion cannot be denied. I looked at, I was like, where do I get that WCW jacket? Lash Legend, with the style, with the fashion, easily wins MVP of NXT.
I don't want to disagree, but there was other people who did a lot more than wear a WCW jacket.
I don't think so.
I have you know, there is a segment of kids that live now not knowing WCW even existed.
They also don't know that Street Fighter 2 existed.
Yeah, they're missing out. Actually, I mean, go some good stuff in there.
Right.
Shout out to Mortis or Glacier and other people there from Mortal Kombat.
That was Wrath.
Yeah, the Mortal Kombat influences, and Master P was okay. Anyway, no, my MVP this week has to be Tony D'Angelo for multiple reasons. Not only finding a way to neutralize the catch clause, not only getting the Heritage Cup, but anticipating the fine he was going to get. It's just class. He's like, look, here's some more and extra. I would love to have a job. And that's kind of a fantasy of me, just to buy something straight cash, whether it's a fine, whether it's a vehicle, whether it's me telling Jamie to get lost and kick rocks. Definitely having enough cash on hand to do it. Tony Angelo is my choice.
I mean, it's a good choice. And I get it. I mean, winning a championship, wearing a WCW jacket.
This is it for us in this edition of Draped and Gold, your one-stop shop for NXT content. If I don't unfollow you, Jack, how can people follow you online?
You can follow me at Real Jack Farmer across all social media. I will be on the call tomorrow for Prestige Wrestling as well. We got an incredible lineup. The main event is going to be filthy. Tom Lawler against Shelton Benjamin. That'll be available on IWTV. Check it out.
DrapedandGold.com. Follow me on that X at Flobo Boyce. A lot of things going on with your boy, writing some articles with the Black Baseball Mixtape at blackbaseballmixtape.com. And I have that sports comedy blog called justthe.sandwich.com. It's kind of a not well kept secret. Check it out. It's free. Most of it, 99% of it's free now. Content about sports, culture, everything in between. But we'll be back here next Wednesday to break down NXT on the way we know how. But until then, Jack Farmer, say the words.
Do your best and be yourself.